is challenging about the way they use defensive personnel? And then on game day, while it's happening, how do you guys identify, here's what they might be trying to do based on who's in the game?
Yeah, I mean, the challenge that they give you is that for two parts, they get really specific with, like, putting the people in the game that they feel do the task the best too. So, in the run game, you're going to get certain type of guys on the field, run downs, and if there's an obvious passing down, you're getting certain guys on the field. So you're getting their better personnel. And then the challenge with all the stuff that as you prepare for the week, the challenge is, okay, if you're in 21 personnel and you have a play called and there's 3 different types of personnels that you anticipate, that's more work for you during the week as far as getting the guys prepared for it. So that part of the challenge is something that a lot of these teams have presented for us.
We talked a lot about self-evaluation during the mini bye. When you're looking at the offense, I'm not saying that anything surprised you, but what kind of were the takeaways in terms of maybe something that you're doing really well and you want to build on, something you need to improve?
Yeah, there was a good bit of both. I think we took a good hard look at like our personnel, like what we were doing within each personnel, where our success was within each personnel, and then we took a look at each individual and said, okay, what is each individual doing well, and then what does each individual need to improve on? And so that's kind of been our focus. We spent some time with the guys early in the week and kind of just emphasized that before we got into the game plan part of it. And that's what we wanted to make sure that we did all that so that each guy can feel like they can get better as we move forward.
Luke, going back to last Thursday night, the missed throw to Griffin in the end zone. Yeah. What's your honest, unfiltered assessment of the entirety of that play and what needs to happen for that to connect?
Oh, I think it's simple, right? It was guys did a good job. We just missed a throw. I don't think it's anything more than that.
In the final minute there, could you have run? Or could you have called a design run play?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there's 52-ish, yeah.
Is that one of those things where you'd have to call 2 plays in the huddle because they're getting right on it?
Yeah, and we're prepared for kind of on the ball in those situations too. So you could do either one. You can do either one. But we felt I mean, as you talk about as you reflect, we felt good about what we did at the end of that thing. It just didn't work out. We didn't execute it, and so we got to coach it better, and the guys got to do it better. So we got to. That's the emphasis for sure.
You guys have obviously run block very well. Are you surprised that there's been such a difference between the success doing that and the pass blocking? I mean, sometimes guys are going to be better at one thing than another, but it seems like there's a...
Yeah. No. I mean, pass blocking is one of the hardest tasks in this league. I don't care across any position. Like the defensive line in this league is like just... They're amazing players. They really are. They make it so hard. And so pass pros, like I would imagine most evaluators don't even watch run blocking as much because pass pro is so hard. So no, that's it's why you have to run the ball. That's why you have to use play pass to help alleviate some of that. And then when you get into the obvious passing downs, and you have to try to find different ways to kind of keep them accountable and not let them just run off the ball as fast as you can, because we got an unbelievable task again this week with what we got to face up front.
Lucas Patrick was really self-critical yesterday of his play so far. You've obviously seen him at a higher level in Green Bay. Well, what can you do as a coaching staff to get him to the expectations that he has and that you guys have?
Yeah, I think it's, he's had to bounce around a bunch of different positions, and that's never an easy thing for an offensive lineman. He never complains 1 second about it. So, that part of it's the challenge as far as, he's played all the positions, right, in practice and in games. And so he did that for us, in previous years too, and he's a soldier like that for us. And it's the same stuff for everybody. I mean, we just got to focus in on the fundamentals, and that's probably, he would admit that, he lost his fundamentals a little bit last week, and he's going to work his butt off to make sure he's ready to rock and roll this week.
How much progress has Nikhil Harry made since he came back, and what are your expectations when he comes back? What's he going to give you on the field?
I'm excited to see. There's a little bit of the unknown, right? Because he just hasn't been out there yet, right? Didn't get to do the preseason, didn't get to play any games yet. So it's a little bit of unknown, and but he's getting better. Just like I've told you guys before, he's a smart player. He's given us, in training camp, he started giving us the flexibility and able to put him in a bunch of different positions. Big, strong guy that we can use in a bunch of different ways. So excited to see where he can go.
Sorry. Is it unrealistic to think, though, that he can get the full boat, that he knows, that he's had enough practice to know what he's doing with the full boat playbook.
Yeah, no, I mean, the expectation is that everybody in the building knows it all, so we're not gonna hold back on anybody. I think that's, and he's a pro, and so he works that way. It's probably more as anything, he's got to make sure he's in game shape, right, which is something that is the hard, you can't do that until you start playing, so.
When you were talking about the specificity of their personnel, what is Justin's responsibility? When he walks to the line, does he have to identify, okay, here's who's on the field for them? Does that influence how he checks into stuff? In a way that it wouldn't or maybe more so than it would in a regular game, just because they do it so often.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a part of what we do. Sometimes the personnel is a part of what dictates what he does, and sometimes it doesn't. So, yes, I would say the answer is yes. He has to know what personnel they're in so that he has an idea of what to expect.
In pass protection for offensive linemen, what are the differences of their responsibilities execution-wise for like RPOs, quick throws, screens versus like a drop back, like a longer drop?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you would equate it to like in the play pass, and whether you're in a quick game where you can maybe cut people down or whatever. Like when you get to be the aggressor, it's easier. I would think you get your hands on and you go to fight. But when you're in a true 5 or 7 step drop back pass, it's a 1-on-1 and you're retreating and someone's running at you, right? And so now you have these freak of an athlete that's like can play corner and he's playing defensive end at 270 pounds. And so like now you have a guy who can bull rush you, who can misdirect you. So to me, that's an incredible task for any offensive lineman. I've always been just so impressed by how hard of a task that is, and they're able to do it so well.
Luke Getsy was on the field for about 40% of the snaps the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one guy filling in now to pick that up, or do you kind of have to slice that up and spread it out?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that room has kind of done that, right? We've been letting everybody kind of get a little bit of peace. I think Mooney's probably been on the field more than anybody else, but other than that, I think, that's been our approach as far as trying to get guys to have different roles and get as many reps and give guys opportunities to go make a play.
Justin said that you and Andrew could see during the last game that his internal clock was kind of speeding up later in the game, and he admitted that some of the things that come from pass protection and learning what he can trust. As a coach and a play caller, how do you adapt to that throughout the course of a game, and then obviously when you get back to practice as well in terms of getting Justin to where he needs to be with that?
Yeah, that's the experience of playing the position is the only way you get that. Like you can't simulate what that feels like to have those guys around you, the timing and the trying to read coverage, make sure you had the protection in the right way. Where is your weakness in the protection? All that stuff going through your mind, and then being prepared for the play and going through your progression. Like you can't simulate that to that level. But I mean, I really do believe that it's just gotten better and better each week, and he's gonna continue to grow through that, and that's just getting these repetitions in practice and then getting them in the games. Trying to make practice as much as real as we can.
As an extension of that, I think one of the words he used was antsy, that he occasionally gets antsy, and he kind of said in this discussion with you, he asked for sort of some reminders to not get antsy. What kind of feedback do you give him when you guys are having that discussion on how to kind of just calm that down within a game, right? Like where you don't have practice to.
It's like you just said. It's just a reminder. It's just a conversation. He talks to Andrew after every single drive immediately, and then usually when everything calms down, we figure out something, and I usually go to him next. So, and we just have good conversations like that. Just reminders.
I'm going to raise my hand to get called on you. Question for you about Darnell Mooney. I'm sure you're familiar with his history, has just continued to climb from the day that he got here. What factors, in your mind, explain why he hasn't been able to produce this year like the player we saw last season?
I mean, there's a ton of factors that go into, like, if you're just talking about pure numbers, because I feel like where he's, you take the first game or so and he didn't really have any production, right? It was like one catch for like negative yards or something like that, right? But you can see his role has grown throughout the year. We're figuring out, what we do well, and he's a big part of that, Sometimes games go that way, and we feel like we have to play a certain way in order to have the best chance to win. And sometimes the production numbers aren't as high, but I feel like he's been a huge part the last 3 or 4 weeks of us creating as many explosives as we've been able to have, and so we got to continue to build off of that with him.
So you see it trending upwardly with him at this point, then?
And
As far
like,
as his play, his
yeah,
production.
no, yeah,
his
yeah,
availability.
absolutely. He's been playing better each week. I thought in the run game, play style wise, I mean, it's been the last 3 games, he's been awesome. I mean, if you see some of the stuff that we've asked him to do, and he's 175 pounds or whatever he is, right? And he's fighting his butt off, and no, I feel like he's been great. His mentality's been great. He's been a really good leader for this football team. So yeah, I definitely see him as an ascending guy.
How, it seemed like you guys blitzed a lot more on third downs and you got home a few times. Is that just not asking about what you're going to do in the future, but how pleased are you with that? Was it something that you accomplished what you wanted to do, and could it be something like moving forward to do more of?
You know, the stats say that we accomplished what we wanted to, because I think they were maybe 2 of 12 or 2 of 13, and we got home. But really, it was just what we saw on tape and what the tape presented for us. And we would always say that whatever the tape says to do and what our guys do well, because it's still about us and what we can execute, what we can do well, we'll use it. So that was just that particular ball game, and we'll see what today's a third down day. We'll see what today presents for us in terms of what New England presents to us.
On the topic of third down, really, really good effort against the Commanders. What was most notable to you about the third down performance last week?
Yeah. Fast, hard, swift, meaning that the patterns that we were supposed to run, the games that we were supposed to run up front, how we ran them, because we would always say that it's not the position, it's the disposition in which the guys run their patterns and how they cover and how they communicate. And so that's getting sharper. So we'll, the improvement each week, you see little improvements each week going forward, and that was the best thing that I saw.
What needs to happen for Robert Quinn to get more production and getting after the quarterback?
Not press, I hate to say this, but not listen to the media, not read the clippings, not listen to outside influences. Look at the tape and see us to look at it and see, hey, why aren't you? And then when you start to press and start to create sacks or production as a whole, it could be interceptions, it could be tackles, whatever that is. I think in football, if you do your job, they'll come to you. If you do it fast, if you do it hard, if you're attention to the details, they'll come, and they usually come in bunches. But I would say for him, and we've talked about this, don't press. It'll come to you. He's a good enough player that they'll come.
Safeties in this defense generally don't have like a lot of sacks or whatever, and Brisker has 2 in 6 games. Is he just in the right place at the right time, or is there something about his skill set that allows you to do more with the safety with this team than previously?
Well, I would say the neat thing was that we had that same blitz against Wentz 4 years ago, and our safety came and got home. He was free, and Wentz shook him off and got free and threw the kind of the game-winning, picked up the first down. So Brisker got free, and he hit him, and he went down right away. So with that idea, when a guy has a chance to make a play and he makes it, that means you have to call his number another time. So I don't think we're blitzing him any more than any other time. I think he's just making the most of his opportunities when we do bring him.
What do you see in Ramondre Stevenson that leaves an impression?
Just tough, physical, good balance, good ball skills. I'm not sure what there's not to like about the player. So all good things, don't have enough good things to say about him.
The experience of going against the duo of like Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, can that help you preparing for the duo of Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson?
You know what? If I'm hearing you right, and I'm thinking, understanding what you're saying, every team, it's a little bit different because it may be 2 running backs that are similar or 2 players that are similar, and this could be offensive line, anything, but but how they use them and what they do with them, that can change the dynamics of what you do or the supporting cast around them. It may be you have two good players and they have some other good players that you may have to say, hey, who am I going to take away? And so every team presents its own challenges in terms of what the offense does with their players.
What is the challenge in preparing for a team where you don't know which quarterback is going to start? And do you ever, not even this week, but any time when you don't know, do you have certain plays of practice that you go, this is against this quarterback, this is against this quarterback?
Yes and no. If they're different types of quarterbacks, if you have a running quarterback and a quarterback that's a conventional passer, I would say yes. But the offense hadn't changed a whole bunch with both quarterbacks. So in this case, I would say no. One's maybe just a little bit older, a little bit more experienced, has a little bit more time on task. But the offense is not going to change. They do the same type of things.
Was there any game in your career, looking back, where uncertainty about a quarterback actually flummoxed you? I feel like we hear coaches talk about it a lot, but they usually come back to the offense pretty similar with both guys.
Not that comes to mind. Yeah, not one that comes to mind that I can't think of. Maybe years ago when we were facing Michael Vick, and I forgot who else was behind him, and Michael Vick. Some challenges there, and we had some rushes dialed up for him years, and that was, 17 years ago. So as of right now, no.
Eagles Michael Vick or
Eagles Michael Vick, yes, the Eagles Michael Vick, yeah.
Now, there was a play against Commander where Eddie Jackson forced a fumble, but it kind of bounced right back to the guy. Just
Curious, on that entirety of that play, what you saw.
Yeah. It just shows you how the ball can bounce your way sometimes and how it may not. If you look at our copy, the coach's copy, you can't even really tell it comes out. And then you look at the TV copy and you go, wow, that far away from just, I think it was a fumble, it bounced, it may have hit Mo, and then it bounced right back to him. And I go, whoa. So you can't get impatient. You can't create things, and the ball bounces different ways, and just happened to bounce to them that day, and that's what happens.
All right. Good afternoon. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Outstanding. How you doing? Good. Yep.
Richard, how do you try to build Bayless back up in terms of confidence in securing the ball, which is the number one job he's got as a punt returner?
Yeah, great question, Biggs. He is one of those guys where I really don't worry too much about his confidence because he is a confident guy. He just wants to do well for his team. So obviously he had a couple struggles. He's a rookie. All rookies struggle. He struggled a little bit more than he probably more than anybody would like. But I think he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He was good in meetings. He's been good. He's been working extra. So I'm not worried about anything in terms of his confidence. But obviously, he wants to do a better job for the team. So great question.
Are you going to put him back out there Monday night?
Yeah, I wish I could tell you that answer, Biggs. I cannot. I wish I could tell you. So we'll find out Monday night. But I can tell you that they're all in competition right now, and they're all working hard.
Who else is in that competition?
Yeah, so all the guys you saw return in preseason, and all the guys that you see out there at practice. So, but all the guys are in there. So Bo Jack's in there, Eddie Jackson's in there. He's in that competition. Blackwell can catch pumps. He's in that competition. Dante's in that competition, just to name a few guys.
On the one that did fumble, what was your diagnosis for him on what went haywire for him there?
Yeah, so when you talk about punters, and especially with rookies, okay, sometimes these rookies don't ever get a chance to see a 5-1 ball. Anything over 5-0 is really good. So that ball's hanging up there a ton. And then it's a 54-yard punt at 5-0, 5-2, 5-3. with guys bearing down on them, getting ready to hit them. So that is something that they have to see off of the foot. You have to see it off of the foot when the punter does his drop. You have to catch it off the foot, and you have to get your feet to the spot before the ball comes down and get settled. Anytime you see a returner that's feet are moving as the ball comes down, we call them happy feet, his feet want to be settled so that he could be underneath it and either slide left or right or come forward and get it. So if a guy's feet aren't in position when the ball's coming down, then usually you have an issue.
In a situation like that, where the guy's fumbled twice or muffed, whatever, is that your call, that whether he gets back out there? Because a lot of times maybe the position coach or coordinator might really love his guys, but the head coach has a different idea. Is that ultimately your call, whether he gets back in there or not in this situation?
Yeah, I would also love to answer that question for you, and I'm not going to answer it, but I don't want this press conference to be totally about Velus, because it's not fair to the kid. It's not fair to the other guys on the team, the rookies that have been busting their tail, doing a phenomenal job for us. We got one rookie that got to fail his way to success. That's happened sometimes. Guys have to fail their way to success, and he's working hard and he's doing what he needs to do. So,
With Velus, but with these other rookies too, how do you guys determine what is a mistake that you're willing to let someone work through with more playing versus this is something that cannot stand and because of that playing time changes?
I think with all rookies or any player, not just a rookie, we just happen to have a lot of rookies playing on special teams. We got 8 out there at a time, if you take a look at the tape. So barring having 8 out there at a time, I think they've done a phenomenal job with what we've asked them to do, but they can still get better. So with any player, rookie or veteran, it's a case-by-case situation and scenario when you talk about, hey, is that a mistake we willing to let him work through, or is that a mistake that he can't work through? I think it's just case-by-case.
Richard, is Marcus Jones someone you did some work on pre-draft?
Yeah, I did a lot of work on Marcus Jones, and then obviously I'm from Houston, and he went to Houston, so I just know a lot of people that know him and know some people that coached him. He's a phenomenal player. Really got our work cut out for us this week. You guys know the Patriots have always historically been phenomenal on special teams. I think Cam, their coordinator, does a phenomenal job. Obviously, Coach Belichick and Coach Joe Judge are there and have been excellent at it for years. Marcus is elite in what he does. I mean, he's 7th in the NFL in punt return average. They're 3rd in the NFL on kickoff return average. So they've done a phenomenal job in that area. So I think Marcus is a really, really, really good player.
You mentioned Eddie Jackson as being part of the group of players competing for kick and punt returns this week. Is that something he's itching to do at this point still in his career, or would he rather just play safety?
Yeah, you probably have to ask Eddie that, but I know every time we do drill work, he's back there running down as a gunner trying to help the young guys, or he's back there catching them himself, so he does a lot of work that people don't see outside of defense to help young guys, and I think he's a tremendous leader, and I think he's having a really good season. He's a good, really good guy to have here. I really have enjoyed coaching Eddie.
Use the word competition in regards to that job. How do you sort that through in 3 days?
Yeah, it's just whatever they've been catching since they got back, and they'll catch again today, and they'll catch again tomorrow, and it's just we gotta see who stands out the most in that area. And obviously at the end of the day, we're always going to do what's best for the football team. But we did a study on it. I mean, through week 5, there have been 18 muff kicks, all right? And 6 of them have been rookies. So 33% of those kicks, all right, have been rookies. And it happens with rookies. Like, they're going to make mistakes. So just have to keep working. And they have to just keep getting better, so.
Other than the catching, what are you looking at as you're evaluating to determine who the guy's going to be?
Yeah, so you always look at, can a guy catch the ball first on punt return? That's his number 1 job on punt return. Just kind of like I said in training camp. His number 2 job is to make sure he tries to get us a first down, all right? And then number 3 is we want to score a touchdown. Obviously, we want to score a touchdown all the time, but we got to catch the ball first, and we try to get the offensive first down. And then eventually one will pop, and then you'll get a big one. And that's what we want. That's what we're striving for. That's what keeps bringing us back every day, trying to get better. And as we look ourselves in the mirror and make sure that we're doing what we can do to help our teammates.
DHC is the honorary captain this week. I know we've talked to you about him before, and you were here with him when he was a rookie. You mentioned having the 8 rookies. What's it like having him to kind of help all those guys? Like, what does it mean to you to have a guy like DHC with that group?
Yeah, I mean, it means the world. Like, DHC is phenomenal. You want to put a helmet on a guy and say, this is a bear, that's DHC. His work ethic is phenomenal. He's smart, very intelligent player, does a very nice job helping guys in the meeting, not only with his position, but other people's position, and on the other side of the ball. He's like having an extra coach, honestly. He does a phenomenal job with that. Eddie, who I mentioned earlier, does a good job helping guys. Matt Adams has been a good veteran presence. Joe, and Matt's out now, obviously. We miss him a ton. He's a big part of what we do on teams. But Joe Thomas has helped us a ton in that area. So those 3 veterans, along with Eddie, they really deserve a ton of credit for bringing these rookies along.
So who's your best rookie? Who's under our radar that we're not, we don't really notice?
They're all my children. I don't have a favorite child. Yeah.
Is there anyone who's?
Who's getting the best grades of your
I'll tell you the guys that stand out, that have done a good job. All right, which you guys know because you do your homework and your history. Blackwell's done a good job. Jalen Jones has done a good job. Trent Gill has done a good job. All right, Jack Sanborn has done a good job. We don't really have any guys that aren't up. I mean, they're all working this. But to give you some answers, those are a couple guys that stand out immediately for us.
His favorite.
Yeah. There you go.